Welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. In just a moment, I am going to walk my happy butt over to the futon to check out the Apple TV Plus original, Echo Valley. Echo Valley is directed by Michael Pierce and it's starring Sydney Sweeney and Julianne Moore. It tells the story of a woman who is living a peaceful life on a ranch. Well, her peace is interrupted one night when her daughter, played by Sydney Sweeney, shows up with someone else's blood on her. This is a dramatic thriller, and to be perfectly honest, from what I've seen from the trailer, it looks like it is going to be a doozy. Definitely one of those, what are you willing to do for someone you love type of questions. So you know what, it's enough of me sitting here jibber-jabbering on. As always, my faithful movie companion Haku is patiently waiting for me over at the futon. So it's enough of me jibber-jabbering on. It is time for me to get over there and check out Echo Valley. Just getting done watching Echo Valley, and guys, oh man, this movie was really frustrating for me to watch. I would say this movie is a 50-50 movie with me. 50% of it I enjoyed, and 50% of it I did not enjoy. I enjoyed the dramatic aspects of this film quite a lot, but then the thriller aspects of this movie, boy, not so much. So let's get this started, shall we? We're gonna get things started with negatives, then move into the positives to end the video on the ever so important high note. So okay, the thriller aspect of this film it's in the trailer. Okay, so the daughter comes home and she has blood on her. She tells her mother a story about how she accidentally killed her boyfriend in a, just like a fight or something. She hit him with a rock, he fell down, not moving, blah, blah, blah. So again, in the trailer, you get to see the mother then hiding the body in a lake, and there's all this drama that's built up like, oh my god, mom, body is float to the top, and all this other stuff, right? So that's what you think the movie's going to center around. And it does for a little while. So the first act of this film sets the stage, and to be perfectly honest, I was very intrigued when this movie started. Now, yes, it was moving quite slow, but I really liked the mother-daughter dynamic in this movie, and I thought that they were bringing in some really great elements by having the daughter show up who's addicted to drugs, and we saw this dynamic between the mother and daughter and all of that. So the first part of the movie, which is setting the scene for their relationship and all, I found really interesting, and I thought that this film was going to go into more of an allegorical kind of way of a mother dealing with a daughter with addiction problems and so on. No, we actually go into an extremely convoluted, not well planned out thriller aspect, and I don't really want to go into anything because yes, in the second act they throw a little twist at you, and it is just does not make any freaking sense whatsoever. So then once they kind of wrap things up with that twist, they go right ahead and go into the third act of this film that really gets into the convoluted, just ludicrous area of this film. I do not know why they decided to go into this aspect at the end of the movie and throw on the ending they did. It felt extremely tacked on, and it didn't make any sense for the motivations of the person in this area. You finally get basically the bad guy of the film. The bad guy shows up. The most just not believable bad guy in the history of bad guys. This guy was not threatening in the least to me whatsoever. And it just seemed very unrealistic for the character's motivations to do what they do next. It does not make any sense whatsoever. They try to explain it away, and it just doesn't work. And then when finally everything comes to fruition, we get to see the ending and all, everything is just so insanely complicated and all, that you're just sitting there wondering, why in God's green earth did I sit through an hour and 45 minutes of this movie? I was really interested at first. I liked where it was going. Then we get to the second act. The whole start to form in it, and then we get to the third act, and it just goes batshit crazy, and not in a good way. It just goes off the rails for no good reason whatsoever. And I would have to say that that is really what harms this movie the most, is the thriller aspect. If this film would have just stayed with this, you know, mother-daughter dynamic dealing with her addiction, and still going into the whole thing of, like I was saying, going into this in my intro, what I thought was this was going to be a film about how far will you go to help someone you love, which there are aspects of that in the film, but it doesn't necessarily grasp onto it. And I really felt that that first act where they were building more of a story like that, and then in the second act when it was going more into what the mother is willing to do to cover up for her daughter's mistakes, I really thought that the movie had something there. And then for no reason whatsoever, it just seemed like the movie kept trying to top itself with twist-a-roonies, and it just didn't work for me. You know what? I think I've said enough of the negatives. Let's move into those positives, shall we? Now, I've mentioned the dramatic aspect of this movie, and that is honestly where this movie lies. Our two lead actors in this film, Juliette Moore and Sydney Sweeney, do excellent job in this film. I thought that they delivered some great performances with a really bad script being handed to them, or at least a convoluted script being handed to them. Both of these ladies delivered outstanding performances, and to be perfectly honest, that is the only reason that I kept watching this movie. If the performances would have suffered, I probably, in all honesty, well, I'm doing a review for it, so I would have finished it, but if I was a person sitting at home, I would have turned this movie off. In fact, let me put it to you this way. If I would have been in theaters watching this movie, I would have been a lot more upset about this film. I probably wouldn't even have a section for positive and saying anything that I actually liked about this movie, because I would have felt like I wasted my money. Because, like I said, putting this movie as a thriller is not correct. There is no suspense. At no point in time did I ever feel any tension whatsoever. This movie does deliver in the performances, the acting was outstanding, but other than that, guys, I really don't think that there's a whole lot here. I do not think that this movie is a 100% skip it, because, like I said, if you're a fan of these two actors, you're probably going to want to watch this movie because the performances are solid. Just be warned, you are going to come into some areas that you are definitely begun saying, what the fuck is this? Alright guys, well that's all I have for you today. Thanks again for checking out the Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up if you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.